What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of the Alex Hampton Show. Man, I am so glad to be back in the saddle to talk about all things movie news, TV news, and pop culture news related. I'm your host, Alex Hampton, and today we have a jam-packed show for you guys today. But I could not do this show without my amazing co-host, Mr. Jeremy Branch from the Jeremy Branch YouTube channel. How are you doing today, Jeremy?
Super glad to be here. Very excited. It might have been a slow news week, but it's not slow for us here. We got a lot of great topics that we're going to be discussing. I'm petitioning now to get Ian off of the graphic package because our boy is just globetrotting. He has not had a chance to stop by and do the show in a little bit, but we do hope he's having a good time. He's actually over in California. He's been hitting all of these great spots, so I hope he's enjoying his trip. I'm kidding about that. Can't wait to have him back on soon.
Yes, we do miss you, Ian, bro. We love to have you back, man, just to give you a perspective and everything. And I hope you are having fun in California, because I know he's been out there for quite a while now, like at least about almost 5 days or so. So
living the high life,
having a good time. But like Jeremy said, we have some topics we want to discuss with you today. Some things that you guys may have known that are in the media, and some others that you probably don't know. But before we jump into the show, first things first, if this is your first time ever watching us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Then hit that bell right next to it. That way you get all that notification every time we're releasing a video here on my YouTube channel. And if you want to comment on anything that we're talking about, just jump into the comment section below and let us know our thoughts about any topics. We want you to be a part of the Momentum Media family that we are building here. Now that we have gotten that out the way, let's go and jump into our off the top topics. So a few things came up throughout this week, and I was just telling Jeremy this off camera, but as you guys know, we are a media company just like other media companies around the world. And if you guys are not aware, the Breakfast Club kind of had a little bit of a fallout. If you guys are not aware, Jess Hilarious, the day before she went to work, got on live and talked about how she was not essentially protected on the Breakfast Club. She basically said that when she came back after her pregnancy, Lauren, the other co-host, was supposed to leave, and she was supposed to come back to her spot and do her normal segment, like Just with the Mess and all these other different things. And she felt as though that her co-hosts were not protecting her. Now, I do have a clip of what was said and everything. I'm about to pull it up, but just to give you guys just a small little gist of everything, essentially, Jess felt some type of way when her co-hosts were not really standing up for her. And to an extent, I can feel for her. I've never been a part of a big juncture like that, per se, media-wise, but I can say that I've been a part of definitely corporate America. And when you feel like you're not being represented well, oftentimes you feel as though you have to not necessarily lash out, but just state your case. So what I'm going to do is just pull this up right here, and just to give you guys just a refresher, and we're going to go from there. We're going to react to this.
It's DJ NV, Just Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
What's happening? How's everybody feeling out there?
I'm great. How you feel?
I feel blessed, black, and highly favored. Just Hilarious is here.
I'm cool.
Okay.
Jess
Still
has
my
been,
job. I came into work. What's up?
she's been trending all day.
Yes.
I think she's number 9 right now.
Okay. Because I was sitting at home last night trying to watch Magazine Dreams, and I kept getting a bunch of phone calls and text messages, and people was like, Just Hilarious is going off on live.
But we have audio.
Okay.
We supposed to be a team up there. Not one person comes to my defense at all. Like when I'm like not one mother ever with this online. Come on, I've been quiet a lot. If Just Hilarious is quiet, it's some other reason. I always got my mouth open all the time. Just ran like a high school. It is Fair East Side High.
I agree with that.
Fair East Side High.
Fair point.
before Mr. Clark, though. Every day. And they always talk about, you ain't at work. You ain't at work. Yeah, I started picking up more shows. Hell no. That's how I'm getting. Hell no. Hell no. I have more fun outside the studio than I have in there now. Is you crazy?
No, act like that's not for real. Act like nobody knew that. Stop acting like y'all like
What
we
part?
really.
What you mean we don't have your
I
back?
have
Break
more-
that down. Explain how we don't have your
Okay,
back.
all right. So the narrative, like I said, with the online ish, that's what I said. Y'all ain't nobody trying to clear up no narrative about nothing. Ever since I came back, it was weird. Yes, it was weird. Yeah, I at first no, I did not. I wasn't too fond of Lauren. No, I wasn't too fond of her when I came back because we had a whole plan. Even how when I came back, how I pick her to fill in for me. Right, I come back, she ain't never leave. Then all right, cool that she don't leave, but she's on only during my segment. If she was meant to be a fourth host, move her in another way. Why she got to be moved in on? Because nobody had a problem with Jess with the mess until she started reading right. You know what I mean? Till she started
So,
reporting. I wasn't hired as a reporter. I was hired as Jess with the mess. So she started reading and delivering details and all that stuff.
Yes.
Then that's when Jess with the mess wasn't good enough no more. That's how it was presented. So I'm like, all right, cool. I feel
Who
you.
said that though?
Okay, real quick, I'm going to fast forward to DJ Envy's response, and then we're going to address what was just said.
Because the internet said
What
that?
are we talking about? No. This is our
Meaning, if you had an issue, a problem, a situation, or something that you felt, why you ain't bring it to the team? When you came back, Jess, I pulled you to the side. I said, Jess, if you feel uncomfortable, if you don't want Lauren in the room, this is your show. We can make that the change whenever you want. Did I not say that to you?
Yeah, you did. It is not about wanting her in the room, yo. It's about the segment. Like it was like y'all
have that
if y'all
conversation
wanted
off
her.
air. If you had a problem, say it
I've
to us.
had
We had a
many
meeting yesterday.
conversations off air. What
Not
is we
like
talking
that.
about?
Not like nobody having my back because we have your back. As far as the Corey Holcomb thing, y'all been beefing for 11
I'm
years.
not worrying about it's not even about
You
you.
worried about comments and you worried about what people say. After
I'm worried
niggas
about
in
the
comments,
perception
man.
and my reputation to be on the
They've
show.
been ishing on me for 15 years. They've been ishing on
Deserve-
Charlamagne for
rightfully so.
15
But
years.
that's on you.
Rightfully
And the
so.
things
But
that
I
people
don't
ish
care.
on me
It
for
doesn't.
is on me.
I don't let it affect me because I know who I am as a person. I don't give a F what them people say in the comments.
Oh, come
I know
on.
who I
Come
am.
on.
I know what I do.
Well,
You let
that's
them people get in the comments and F with you. You're
Well,
great at what you do.
Everybody simmer down.
Like you a dope.
She's
And
very
you let
dope.
them people piss you off. No, F them niggas. You nice. Like what you do is funny.
I tell her
Like,
that all the time, on air,
you brought
off
that
air.
energy that we needed to the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And you let a bitch ass person in the comments say something to steer you up. I tell F them niggas.
We don't even know.
F all
Who these people are. In the
They could be.
Okay, so you pretty much have somewhat of the gist. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up because this leads into a broader conversation. I've always said, or at least on my platform, I would love the people to interact in the comment section. The comment section is there for a reason, and I do understand that when you are a somewhat of a public figure like Jess is and the people on the Breakfast Club, you're going to be critiqued and criticized by your opinions and the things that you think. I mean, people have criticized Charlamagne on his political views. People have criticized DJ Envy on just his views about life in general. And people have criticized Jess over her being a comedian. I mean, again, they're they're public figures. So my question is, to Jeremy, after seeing everything that you've seen, should we allow the comic section to dictate who we are as individuals? Because you've been in this space in a while. You've had your good and bad comments. How do you feel where Jess is coming from? And do you also feel where some of the hosts are coming from, where they're saying, like, listen, you should not allow these people to dictate how you feel based upon what they say? So I'm going to pass it to you.
Yeah. Oh man. Jess is bringing a mess with this whole conversation, and I empathize with her big time. It's got to be. Look, I mean, like the dynamics seem to be changing a little bit, and I understand why Jess would feel the type of way that she does, especially being that she's dealing with so many other things that you and I will never have to deal with, like having a kid, dealing with the hormonal side of it, separate from actually like the emotional side of reading these comments, knowing that Lauren is like, I mean, you know, she's cute, and I imagine it's threatening to Jess, and I get it. Like, I understand how it would be like that. So as a human being, I get it. She went about this all wrong-headed, but you have to write off some of that to like, hey man, she just now had a kid. She's been dealing with late stage pregnancy through all of this. But to your point specifically, how do you not let it get to you, man? Like, Charlotte is in a place where like it doesn't matter. He's going to get the bag regardless if people talk good about him or talk bad about him. His spot is secured, and same with Envy. Like, they're going to be there regardless. I don't see them bringing in another guy because, I don't know, just God forbid Charlotte got sick or something like that. There's nobody that's going to be able to replace him. And the Just with the Mess segment, nobody can do exactly what she does, but I don't know that it's as pivotal to the show as Charlemagne is, you know. So like, of course it's going to get to you. And that's why the best thing to do is to not read the comments and not get in the weeds with these people on social media, because they will tear you down. They love you until they don't love you anymore. And the minute that they find something to hate you about, they will just, they pile on. Audiences are weird, bro. I see it happen all the time. Like, me and you talked a little bit about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds last week, and it's like so many people hate Ryan Reynolds now. We loved him until we hated him. And if he were online every day, scrolling the feed, looking at the things that people were saying about him, it would destroy him. With me and you, all we have, and it's wild, and it's not all we have, but as far as in this creative space, all we have is the kind of affirmations and the feedback that we get from the audience, right? Because we're not monetarily compensated in the same way that they are. It's easy for Envy and Charlotte to say, don't let it get to you, because regardless if those haters are hating or not, they're still getting paid for it.
Right.
When your job is on the line, and this is where you've carved out your niche in the position that Jess is in, I understand her feeling the way that she feels, but man, she just, everything that you could do wrong in that situation, she did. It's great that they aired it out on the show so that you know where everybody stands on it. And Envy is 100% right, but it's easy to be right and it's harder to live by that, right?
Yes, very much so. I agree with everything that you just said. It takes a certain discipline to not allow the comment section and trolls on the internet to make you feel some type of way about the job that you're doing. Listen, ultimately, I think a lot of the people in the comment section who come after Jess or come after women in general, they have a certain complex that needs to be compensated by something else.
Yeah.
You know, so I you know, and my thing is that, you know, Jess has done a good job while she's on the show. To say, you know, block out everything, do your job, do the best of your ability, and keep pushing. You, as a comedian, you're funny, and not only that, you have cachet. You've done movies, you've done TV, you've been on Tubi. You've been across the world. Do not let these internet games, the internet people, get the best of you. The comic section and these trolls are here to make you feel some type of way when you are already great. You've been proven to be great. So if Jess is watching this, I would just say to Jess directly, you are an amazing woman, an amazing mother, an amazing content creator. You are an amazing comedian. I would just say block out everything and keep pushing. If Envy and Charlemagne are supporting you, let them support you and continue pushing you. If they are not, then I would just say, probably you need to reevaluate your relationship with them. But if that's not the case, if they are supporting you, allow them to continue to support you in that. And I would just say, don't let a good thing go bad based upon what other people say.
No, you can't. You can't. And it's so much easier to do that when you're always on to the next thing. But if for whatever reason you're off on maternity leave, maybe you're spending time with your child, you're probably also spending more time with your cell phone. And that is just completely human and completely natural. But the people that are invested in spending their time tearing you down, I like to call those people the unemployed. You know what I mean? They don't have anything better to do other than just tear down these people that they are envious of. So like, yeah, you're right, Alex. I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. And if this isn't fulfilling to her anymore, there's going to always be other opportunities because like you said, she's super talented.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about what's going down at the Breakfast Club? Can they I know they've resolved things, but do you think they can keep the ship going? Just jump into the comment section below and be respectful and let me know your thoughts. Okay, real quick, we have one more off the top section. This is kind of somewhat breaking news. I was just telling Jeremy this off camera, but yesterday, legendary George Foreman, boxer, public figure, and if you have ever owned a George Foreman grill, I have back in the day when I was a kid, my parents had it. He passed away at age 76. Unfortunately, I don't know the man too well, and I am 31, but I never seen any of his fights live. I never had that opportunity to see these fights live. But I've seen all the Hulu documentaries and stuff like that about him, but I have not got to see him fight, unfortunately. I do know that he was an icon. I do know I believe my dad had met him years ago in Atlanta, Georgia, and he was always a good guy. I've heard nothing but great things about him. Jeremy, did you ever get a chance to see him fight, or did you know him well enough to get to know him as a boxer in his career going forward?
Yeah, no, he was a little before my time, you know. I have went and watched some of his stuff on YouTube as far as highlight reels and stuff like that. I think when I think of George Foreman, I think of two things. And first of all, he does just seem super cool. Watching him do hosting gigs, commentary on stuff. He always just was like a endearing kind of figure, right? 77 is pretty young. I mean, I know that the average lifespan of a male is like somewhere in that area, you know. What's his name? Passed away a couple weeks ago. That was in all of those movies. Gene Hackman, and he was up in his 90s, you know. So like 77 is relatively young. It's unfortunate. But when I think of him, I think of two things, and that's the Foreman Grill, which I think every bachelor in America at some point owned one, because if you want to cook up a chicken breast, there's no easier way to do it. You just throw it straight on there and it'll cook it up for you. So definitely use my George Foreman grill a lot. And one of the things that I just always thought was so funny about Foreman is that he named all of his kids George Foreman. So while George Foreman passed away, his legacy will live on through his children. And how many of them are there? I feel like there's like 6 or 7.
I think he has 6 kids altogether.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate. It is part of just as we get older and a lot of the icons that we know and love. It is a very natural progression of things, and I'm glad that he had the prolific time on earth that he did, because a lot of 77-year-olds pass away never having a fraction of the impact that George Foreman did.
Right. Yeah, absolutely right. And I'm glad that he was able to pass on the legacy amongst his kids, but he will also have a major stamp on today. So on today's world. So George Foreman, I pray that you are resting well. My prayers go out to your family, your sons and daughters, and anyone who's surrounding you. Guys, if you have any fond memories about George Foreman, just jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Well, all right. Now we're going to jump into our main topics. our main topics are just basically topics that we see throughout the news cycle. And one topic is not the main topic, but we're going to address it. But one topic I have addressed plenty of times on the Alex Hampton show, and we just found out that Disney is in talks of bringing Power Rangers to Disney Plus. Now, I the last time I spoke about Power Rangers was unfortunate when Jason David Frank passed away. That was back in, I think, 2020. No, 2021, somewhere around there, 2021, 2022. And I talked about, me and Jeremy were on that show. I talked about how I met him at Pensacon. I met him here in Orlando at MegaCon. Great dude. I did watch Power Rangers as a kid, growing up. And I stopped watching probably around middle school. And Power Rangers has always been a through line throughout nostalgia. I can't think of nostalgia without mentioning Power Rangers because they were there. Although I don't hold them in the same way as, say, like a Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry. They were there. Like, I still like things. I think like nostalgia, the best nostalgia has always been something animated, like a Hey Arnold or a Rugrats or Rocket Power or Kablam or Invader Zim. That is nostalgia for me. Even on my wall, you'll see Avatar, Static, Spider-Man, Black Panther, and the Proud Family's like right there somewhere. So like, yeah, that is nostalgia to me. So for me, I've always viewed other things as more nostalgic than the Power Rangers, even though I acknowledge that they are nostalgia. That being said, the most recent thing I saw from Power Rangers, one of my friends had texted me, said, "Hey, they're doing a Power Rangers movie on Netflix. They bring back the original Power Rangers, and they're doing it. I think, and they're doing like a 45-minute Netflix movie." I said, "Okay, so you have the original Black Ranger, Red Ranger, Blue Ranger." At that time, I think Jason David Frank had passed, and you had the other Rangers included in this series. I watched it before I recorded this. Actually, I watched this months ago. They need to leave this property alone. They do. Because even at Netflix, I was just like, okay, Netflix, depending on what you're watching, they will go way far and make it great. But let's be clear, there's a lot of shitty stuff on Netflix too. But I will say, I thought that there could be potential hope for it. I watched it. What the hell? Like, it's not a great series. Now, I say that to say that I think Power Rangers was really good in the early 90s, early 90s going into the 2000 era. It had its era. I believe once your era is complete, I don't know if you can bring it back. Now, people have said, oh, you can revitalize, rewrite things, and retool things. And I understand that. I get that to an extent. We have seen that in real time. So yes, I get that. I think though it's unproductive to do that with this particular property when you can just make something completely different. Power Rangers has been around, I think, since 1989 up until 2025 to current. They haven't had a current season of Power Rangers, from my understanding, doing my research over the last couple of years. Now, Disney is in talks with Hasbro to license the property and to have it on their streaming service. I don't think Disney Plus should go forward in it unless they're going to completely ratify it. I think the best Power Rangers we've ever seen was that 2017 movie. That movie, okay, granted, I understand that we didn't get to see them turn into Power Rangers to the end, but the fact that they used real kids with real issues, nothing that was so cookie cutter and childlike, it felt like this was a series I was willing to watch. It didn't feel too campy. If they do something like that, maybe I will be interested. But I will say this, and something I've said before, I don't believe this is a property you can bring back because honestly, I don't believe that people care enough about it. And let me just say this before I pass it to Jeremy, because I've heard this comment before, and I'm going to address it here. I've seen the comment on my YouTube channel multiple times. Well, when you go to Comic-Cons, the Power Rangers are there and they have large live.
I was going to say that.
That is very true. I've been to Pensacon, especially the originals. They have long lines. MegaCon, long lines. When Jason David Frank was alive, I think he had the longest line. Almost everybody who was there. The box office does not reflect that.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I would say is that all of those fans, well, where the hell were they when the last movie came out? So and that's all I will say. And again, I'm not going to discredit that Power Rangers doesn't have a fan base. They definitely have a fan base. I don't think that that's enough to warrant more of this type of sequel. So, Jeremy, those are my thoughts. What do you think about Power Rangers potentially coming to Disney Plus? And do you think this would be a viable move for the streaming service?
Man, this makes me think of so many things. First of all, I'm 42 years old, so I did see the original Power Rangers that would come on in the block right after X-Men on Fox Saturday mornings way back in the day. So I watched a couple episodes of the first season or two. It never really resonated with me. And I think a lot of it's in the execution. One of the things that is really interesting about the legacy of Power Rangers, and many of you will already undoubtedly know this, but that it was based on... not even based on, but they would take the fight scenes from Super Sentai, which is a Japanese show, and then they would kind of edit in the American versions of their respective characters.
A lot of ADR.
Yes. So everything you saw in the school was shot on American soil. Everything you saw in the suits was borrowed from another series. I love Godzilla. Kaiju, right? And Ultraman is a lot closer to Power Rangers. So I always really liked the costumes. I like the idea of these big monsters fighting over cities. I thought Power Rangers never capitalized on it in a way that I found interesting. But if I was a couple years younger, I probably would have loved it. I understand. But you bring up something really interesting, and that is that just because there is nostalgia and that there is an audience willing to wait in the line to see the cast members of the thing that they loved when they were kids, does that necessarily activate them to go to the movie theater and see a new version of that property? Or is this nostalgia that should just better be reserve a space in our mind for the way that we saw it when we were kids? Is Disney trying to create new Power Rangers, or are they optioning to get the backlogs of all of the shows?
So they're optioning to create a new original Power Rangers series. Now, I don't know if they're going to borrow from the genesis of it, like the original characters, or is this going to be completely new? Because, the thing about Power Rangers is that every new season of Power Rangers, it's a different set of Rangers, different set of characters, different set of costumes, but they're all still connected into the lore that they have established. So Tommy is still there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think how I read the article, this is something completely different that has the lore of Power Rangers, but is disconnected from everything.
So if you got a Voltron hot toy coming soon.
Yes,
I have a hard time believing that they cannot do this series well, because we all love that. Like, it is a core part of anime culture, like Japanese culture, that idea of like all of these different robots coming together to create a super robot to fight giant monsters. That's awesome, man. We like the Pacific Rim was awesome. I think that you could do it well. It just can't be too shackled to the original tone, because when you talked about that Netflix movie that they did, they were trying to do two things at once, right? So what they were trying to do is speak to an adult audience, but the adults that they were speaking to were children when the original one came out. So they tried to keep it very 100% true in tone and spirit, not accounting for the fact that the audience that loved that stuff when they were kids is grown up now.
Right.
Like you said, the movie that came out back in 2017 was pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was better than it really had any right to be, considering what it was based on. So like, I think there's a world where they could nail this. I think that there is enough just cool stuff attached to it that they could make it work. But if their intention is to try to replicate the thing that we loved in 1992 or 1994, whenever it first came out, that they're going to fail with that. They're going to need to reach a new audience. So like, I don't know, man, you could do an animated Power Rangers series that kind of borrowed from that Voltron legacy and maybe do something really interesting. I think there's options, right?
Yes, there's options. And I'm glad you brought up like VR Troopers and Kaiju. The reason I'm glad you brought that up, because if they did it anime, oh my God, I think there's so many ways they could pull off a good anime series with the Power Rangers, but make it a little bit more adult. Because if you watch what's the show? If you watch there's an anime of
Neon Evangelion's another good example of it.
What's that anime? I cannot remember. There's an anime where it's kind of like VR Troopers. No, Ultraman. That's it. Ultraman.
Yeah.
Ultraman. And there's there's a list of animes you can watch with Ultraman on Netflix, Tubi, and stuff like that. It is almost a carbon copy of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
The difference is it is super adult.
Yeah.
Super adult where it's cool. Now, if they did something like that, either in anime and live action, you have my dollars. I'm watching the show. But if you don't, but for me, I kind of feel as though that if you revert back to more of the nostalgic versus the I guess the campy type, and kind of go back to the kid thing, it's not going to be as profitable as it should be, in my opinion. I don't think a lot of fans are going to watch it, but you never know. I hope that it does go well. Again, they are in talks, so nothing has been confirmed per se, but if and when it does come online, I will review it and watch it like everybody else and give my honest opinion about it. But what do you guys think? What do you think about Power Rangers potentially coming to Disney Plus? Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, we have 2 more topics to go. Real quick, we're just going to jump into the next topic, which is Daredevil episode 4 review. Jeremy, this is the best Disney Plus Marvel show they have put out.
Thank you.
Since WandaVision.
Thank you.
Since WandaVision. I don't know where the hell I kind of understand what they were trying to do with certain other properties, but this right here is amazing.
Yep.
Oh my God. Episode 4. Just to see the breakdown of Matt Murdock investigating White Tiger's murder, and then that, oh my God, that scene with him and Punisher, where Punisher's literally about to chop his head off. I love that scene because he's making him, he's basically making Daredevil relive his burdens, like say Foggy's name, say his name, and I'm just like, oh my God. So it was a really good episode. I think so far it's the best episode of the season. I think Disney Plus needs to continue making shows like this in order for them to get more viewers to their service. What did you think about that episode, and what were your favorite parts?
Yeah, it's nice to be excited about Marvel series. It's been a minute. They keep on fumbling, and so but instead of focusing on that, I think what what they've done with Daredevil has made it timely in a way that a lot of the series didn't feel like as relevant. The fact that they're making Kingpin like this populist mayor of New York who's kind of like trying to go around red tape and just get results, and the people are very divided on whether he's like a, you know, this huge positive thing for New York or if he's just the worst thing that could possibly happen. I love that. And then the vigilante angle of it, like we kind of explored this a little bit with Civil War, the idea of the Superhero Registration Act, but I love the idea of like, what are the actual social implications of having vigilantes on the street? The conversation that Matt has with Frank is incredible because at first I thought he was talking about the white tiger when he's like, you lost your friend and that's why you're here, or what are you lost him and that's why you're here. And then to realize as the conversation goes along, no, he's talking about Foggy. And that's just like such good acting. The fact that Punisher is basically trying to say like, we're kind of the same. Like you're out there beating people up, trying to fill this void because you're broken like I'm broken. And I think that's like the thread that holds the relationship between Punisher and Daredevil and keeps it so interesting, is just like there's this arbitrary line that Matt always holds on to, that he doesn't kill people. And we're seeing it in Invincible this season as well. But like once you cross that line, what does it do to you? What is the ultimate goal of all of this? And it's just like, it's a way to kind of escape. It's a way to mask what you're actually not able to process. So dude, that scene is so good. Every time John Bernthal acts, he acts the shit out of whatever role he's in. He is so good in The Bear, and he's not like a major character in it, but he's just an incredible actor. He should be given all of his flowers for how just reliably good he always is. But yeah, I think this is probably my favorite Disney Netflix series. It's not groundbreaking in the same way that WandaVision was, but man, does it really speak to my sensibilities and the things that I like in comic book media. I hope, because what happens a lot, and we've seen it many times in the past, strong starts, strong 4 or 5 episodes, man, just really, really, really good. And then they fall off at the end. And I really hope that this doesn't continue that trajectory. I hope that, like, I don't know, just for lack of a better comparison, Thanos doesn't show up in the next episode, and the next 2 episodes are aliens like taking over New York. I'm not interested in that anymore with this character. And I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that. Whenever they started retooling this series and going back to the drawing board, and it seems like whoever took over understood what it was that fans wanted out of the series, and they're just continuing to knock it out of the park. I had a buddy, Johnathan, the other day hit me up and say, man, why are we watching marriage counseling between Wilson and Vanessa? And I'm like, that's interesting to me. That's what I want to see in this series, is these complex character dynamics. And then the other, obviously, showstopper scene is that very last shot before the episode ends, and we figure out that he's got dude Adam. He's got Adam down there like Hannibal Lecter. It's wild, man. It's so good. I'm excited. I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yo, when I seen that scene, I burst out laughing.
100%.
Because in that same scene you're referencing, the counselors ask, where's Adam? And they both say, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, he's dead. He has to be dead.
You think, does Vanessa know, you think?
I don't know. I believe Vanessa when she says I don't know, because remember in that first episode, she said to him, please don't kill him.
Yeah.
And I knew for a fact that Fisk is going to kill that man. He's going to kill that man. But what I didn't expect at the end of that episode was to see him literally trapped in a cage.
Bro, maybe Adam would be better off dead. Like if he doesn't kill him and he just keeps him alive down there, that might be a fate worse than death altogether. So we'll see how it plays out. But I just love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's a great series. I kind of wish what that conversation was like. Like Adam, if I'm Adam and you know who the Kingpin is, I would be like, you know what, you can have her. Hey man, it wasn't all that great. I'm a bounce. I'm about. It's not worth my life. It's not. You could have your wife back. I overstepped. I'm sorry. But apparently he didn't say that. So hey. But yeah, what do you guys think about Daredevil episode 4, season 1? Jump in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts. Fun fact, next week, this upcoming week, we're getting 2 episodes of Daredevil. So I can't wait to see how this story progresses. So again, just jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And now we are here at the final topic, and I really wanted to address this with Jeremy. Mr. Johnathan Majors. Johnathan Majors' movie, Magazine Dreams, drops this weekend. Fun fact, I did watch it yesterday.
Was it good?
But, oh man, it is amazing.
It looks good.
Oh my God, it is. You almost forget that it's Johnathan Majors. Like, he is the character that he's playing. But before I dive into the movie, prior to the movie releasing, there was some audio leaked of him, I guess, admitting that he assaulted his ex-girl or whatever. And we saw some scrutiny come his way in regards to this movie release. And he was just recently on the Breakfast Club being interviewed, talked about how he loved his family. He just got recently married to Megan Good. So congratulations to him. And also, like, he addressed all these other people who came out against him. And let me just say this. I want to say this really quickly because I disagreed with this particular pundit who said this. So when John Campea addressed this issue, he said that after you hear the audio, it kind of makes me wonder whether if I'm going to go support and see this movie or not. Like, people are going to wonder and see if they're going to support this movie. And my only question to him and others who feel that way, did y'all watch The Flash? I'm just curious. Did y'all watch The Flash? Because we saw Ezra Miller do those things on tape. And I'm not saying that movie was successful, because it wasn't, but I remember very vividly that John Campea saying that The Flash was a good movie. So clearly what he did it didn't hinder you from watching The Flash. So why would this even be a thing that you are concerned, worried about in terms of stopping you from watching Magazine Dreams or any other?
Alex, are you saying that it's different from a white they them to beat up a white woman than it is for a black man to beat up a woman?
Yes, absolutely. Because we're going to have this conversation. Now, I'm saying this. I don't agree with anyone putting your hands on anybody. I don't. Johnathan Majors has gone through trial, and he was convicted of and correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, of I think aggravated assault,
battery or something.
But he was acquitted of the other charges. I saw the video. Jeremy saw the video. Clearly there was a scuffle. I'm not discounting that. But we also saw Johnathan run like a track star. Really fast, by the way. I'm pointing out to say that this perception of him being shitted on by the media, it's not weighted fairly. And I think my thing is that there have been people who are still in this industry, Amber Heard, Blake Lively, who are profiting off this industry, who have done some more egregious shit. My thing is that Johnathan Majors has served his time. He got convicted. I feel as though he's allowed to work. He deserves forgiveness just like everybody else. Charlemagne made a good point when he interviewed Johnathan Majors. If you take the MCU, Robert Downey Jr., Jeremy Renner. Although Robert Downey Jr. paid his dues before Iron Man came about, they still gave him a chance. Jeremy Renner, we don't know how it ended or not. It was just up in the air. But since then, he's been able to work as Hawkeye in the Hawkeye series and still be a part of the broader MCU. He wasn't thrown out. And also, from my understanding, the guy who plays Namor had a sexual assault situation pop up during the promotion of Black Panther, and nothing has happened legally, at least, from that as well. The point I'm making is that Johnathan Majors should be allowed to work. He deserves forgiveness. I'm not saying you should discount anything that he has done, but I do think if we're going to move past certain other actors and artists, he should get a pass too. We should be able to forgive and let go. We talked about this last week. Believe all proof and believe all proof, and then we just move forward. I like how we talked about Blake Lively. She should be able to work for the rest of her life. She doesn't have to if she doesn't want to, but regardless of the situation, she should. The guy, Justin, like I said on camera, I don't believe he's a feminist, but because I compared that to him to Dave Chappelle calling himself a feminist. So, but I do believe he's allowed to defend himself and work. Johnathan Majors has been through the ringer, and he lost one of the biggest franchises that anybody can lose. When you watch Magazine Dreams, his talent is oozing on the screen. Like I stated before, you almost forget that it's him. And you literally watch this man work his ass off to reach the dream that he's trying to reach. And fun fact, you kind of have an empathy about bodybuilders because they put their body literally through the ringer just to get to where they want to be. And I think Johnathan Majors, with his talent, his apologies, and how he's moving forward, should be allowed to work. And I don't think that this coordinated attack should stop people from watching this movie. Watch this movie because this movie is really good. This movie, it breaks all barriers and all emotional barriers. This movie should be nominated for an Oscar in 2026. It should be. Will it? I don't know. If we're willing to give Will Smith a chance, now mind you, Will Smith didn't go to jail. He should have, but he didn't go to jail. If we're willing to give him a chance, and we're willing to give Ezra Miller a chance and these other individuals a chance, he should be able to have a chance as well. Jeremy, I don't believe you've seen the movie yet, but what do you think about this recent audio? And what do you also think about people feeling some type of way who've watched stuff like The Flash and who supported even like Harvey Weinstein, feeling some type of way about Johnathan Majors' comeback?
This is a very complex conversation, and I think that the easiest way to say it is that while many people espouse progressive values, there is still a latent racism in all of us. And I'm going to shoulder some of that. I'm going to say all of us. I'm not going to say all of them. I think society we're all doing our best. Right. Some of us are not doing our best. Some of us are out there doing Nazi salutes at conservative rallies. But like for the most part, even progressives that I've seen have this kind of subconscious double standard. I will say, when you look at Ezra Miller and you look at whoever he was, fighting at the time, there is a thing that in your mind you say, Johnathan Majors is hyper masculine. He's a very strong, big black man, and that is like an image of hyper masculinity. You look at somebody like Ezra Miller, and you're like, I don't know, it could go either way. I don't really, whatever. that chick might be able to fuck him up. I don't know. Where like clearly with Johnathan Majors, there's like a physical difference. So if you want to make that case to me, I think there's some point to be made there. But I think you're right. I think ultimately the scrutiny that Jonathan Majors has gone through has been a lot more because of his blackness. I think it would be disingenuous to not at least address that. Now, to the point of people deciding that they do or don't want to support an actor, a musician, because of transgressions that they've had, that's fine. I'm not going to twist anybody's arm to go and do something that they feel morally objectioned to, but you better keep that same energy regardless of who it is. That's the thing. It's like, because Alex, I think you kind of nailed it. It's very hypocritical for someone like John, and we love John Campea, but for someone like him to say, it's got me questioning whether I'm going to see that movie in particular. Granted, if it were a Black Panther sequel, John would probably go and see that movie because the fandom for the comic book stuff might be a little higher on his priority list than the fandom for the bodybuilder stuff, whatever it is. But if you're just strictly looking at, I'm willing to support this actor despite the fact that they did this thing, but I'm not willing to watch this actor despite the fact that they did the same thing, you got to kind of ask why that is. What is the primary difference? And looking at it, there's one observable difference that I think is pretty obvious. You also kind of nailed it when you said, like, he was tried by a jury of his peers. He was convicted of a crime. He was sentenced. He went through the steps of the legal system, and now he is on the rehabilitation end of it. And that's what the justice system is. So, like, are we a society that is never willing to forgive anybody, despite the fact both of us can acknowledge that what he did was not cool, you know?
Right.
The audio recording that came out where he kind of blamed the woman for the fact that he roughed her up, that's not cool, but it also didn't happen recently. Like, this was like previous things. So, like, we're still, and that's what happens. And I'm not going to say cancel culture, but like when people dig up things from the past and they use them as ammunition to persecute them now, it's just not it's not the kind of society I personally want to contribute to or be a part of. I think that forgiveness is a thing that, like, gives people strength and it gives us character, and to be able to say, like, look, in my past, I may have done things that I'm not proud of today. I may have said things or hurt people in a way that I wasn't holding myself to the same standards then as I do now. And I would like to be judged for the person that I am today. And I would like to extend that same grace to other people. But, like, it feels like there is a real tendency to want to define people at their worst moments. The lowest that a person can be, that's the best that they can be to some people. And that is unfortunate. And I wish that we could get past that. However, if you're a domestic violence survivor and you saw that and it hurt you, it made you feel some type of way, and you say, I will never support that man for the rest of my life, respect. Who am I to tell you how to feel about that? Just keep that same energy regardless of who the person is that commits those kind of acts, you know?
Yeah, and I agree. That's why I started off by saying, like, me and Jeremy both started off saying, like, we don't condone his actions. We don't. And if you want to not support somebody based upon the actions that they've made, okay, cool. You're free to do that. I would never guilt trip anybody to watch a movie, regardless of how good it is. I think, though, like you said, we live in a society that will literally relegate us to our worst moment versus us getting past it and getting forgiveness. And knowing my heart, right? I don't want to make it a race thing, but there have been plenty of Caucasian white individuals who have done stuff and they are still actively working.
Yeah, we love them.
And we love them. We love them to death. And it's almost it is hypocritical, because it's kind of like, all right, I'm not saying, I'm not going to minimize what Johnathan did because it's wrong, but I will say this: he didn't kill anybody, he didn't rape anybody, he didn't sexually assault anybody, he never forced his he never forced any sexual organ on anyone.
Yeah.
He didn't sodomize anybody. Like what the things that I'm naming, the stuff that I'm naming, there are a lot of actors and artists and producers and directors who have done those things.
Let's be real. Also, you mentioned Amber Heard, but we've got to be honest and say Johnny Depp did everything that Amber Heard did and everything that Jonathan Majors did. And not only do we still love him, but we were like hashtag trending justice for Johnny, save Johnny, da 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 da. And he was every bit as much an active participant in what happened with Amber Heard as Amber Heard was. And I know that's not a popular thing to say, but relationships do not get that toxic because one person was acting crazy and the other person was acting totally fine. That's not the way that these situations normally work. I think that it was toxic on both ends. And I think that Johnny Depp definitely crossed similar lines.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. I don't, because even in that situation, for me, I never took a side. I do believe they both acted like assholes. I will say this: I think the reason why a lot of people jump to Johnny's side is because Amber Heard lied, and said she didn't.
Yeah,
and that's and I think that was what really shot herself in the foot.
Yeah,
like if you're gonna be a part of something like that, at least tell the truth.
Yep.
Don't lie, But I get what you're saying. Johnny Depp is not innocent in it either. So I want to point out, with all these individuals, everybody deserves grace. We all deserve grace. We all deserve some form of redemption. And Charlamagne said something very key that I want to repeat. Redemption does not look like perfection. It doesn't.
Nope.
Your redemption is, you're going to go through a lot of, if you will, growing pains when it comes to redemption. And I want people to understand is that, love him or hate him, he deserves a chance just like everybody else. So what do you guys think in the comment section? Do you believe that Jonathan Majors is deserved as much work as anybody else? Jump into the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts, and that will do it for today's episode of the Alex Hampton Show. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel where you get a lot of updates of what we're doing here at Momentum Media. Stay tuned to the upcoming content that we're releasing each week. Jeremy, where can we find you on YouTube and on social media?
Just Google Jeremy Branch. You'll find me. I got a YouTube channel, Jeremy Branch. And if you want to check out some cool synthwave music, check out Lucid Memory. And dude, it's been a good couple of weeks doing this. I really enjoy it, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime. Like I said, I'm gonna try to make this a little bit more consistent as we grow. So I'm gonna keep inviting you on and inviting Ian on as well as soon as he's back from vacation. So, but yeah, we're gonna keep making this more of a proper thing. And I love the community that comes out and supports us. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, you guys, have a blessed day.